Good evening and welcome, my brothers, to our second Section W-1S virtual campfire. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending time with us this evening. We have several leaders from lodge, section, and region with us tonight to provide various updates on Order of the Arrow program and help answer your questions. First of all, I'd like to introduce our panel for tonight. My name is Rio, and I'll be the host for tonight's campfire.
Hi, I'm Dirk Smelser, and I have the honor to serve as your 2021 Section Chief. I'm so glad all of you could join us tonight, and I hope it's enjoyable at home.
Unfortunately, our Section Vice Chief, Caitlin, was not able to join us tonight. Caitlin will be leading our ACT conference and training at Conclave.
I'm Thackeray Moreland, the Lodge Chief of Lolokongila.
Hi, my name is Dustin Graves, Chief of Chiskin Lodge, and I'm currently serving my second term.
Hi, my name is Mason Llewellyn. I'm the incoming Lodge Chief for Wanalamonte Lodge.
Thank you. And last, but certainly not the least, we have a special guest from Western Region joining us tonight.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. My name is Dakota Morosi. I currently serve as the 2021 Western Region Chief. I come from Apakayo Lodge over in Montana, and I could not be more excited to be with you all here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and we hope we can provide you with some updates.
Thanks, Dakota. Tonight, we have a special program lined up for you, including updates from Lodge, Section, and Region officers. We'll then share special announcements for Conclave, and later tonight, we'll do a Q&A segment to answer your questions. We'll also be doing giveaway during this campfire. To enter the giveaway, all you have to do is post your question in the chat or comments below, or using one of our social media platforms. Or you can find a submission form on our website, sectionw1s.org/campfire. We'll pick 2 winners at the end of the campfire. And remember that if you want a specific person to answer your question, make sure to mention it when you post your question as well. With that, I'd like to start this off with sections, plans, and updates. Dirk, take it away.
Thanks, Rio. Since Conclave, the section has been hard at work planning our 2021 Conclave and supporting our lodges. Gathering at Hoodoo Ski Area this September, we have an amazing program planned for our Conclave, but we'll talk more about that later. For the most part, we've been focusing on our lodges, meeting with the lodge chiefs monthly to keep track of progress and goals. Other than that, our upcoming ACT conference will give lodges a chance to collaborate with each other virtually. Our first ever ACT conference is being held on April 10th, featuring special guests Dakota Morosi and Gavin Cho. ACT stands for Adapt, Collaborate, and Thrive. 3 key points we want to ensure our lodges are encompassing. Anyone is welcome to join us for the ACT conference this weekend, and more information can be found on our section website. For now, I'll pass it back to Rio.
Thanks, Dirk. Now, as a secretary, I'd like to give an update on the comms team. The comms team has been working hard to keep everyone in the section informed and updated throughout this pandemic. With great uncertainty as we navigate this pandemic, it is our job to publish the latest updates and news so that you always know what's going on in a section and in your lodge. We also been sending out monthly newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you can subscribe them by your website or going to bit.ly/sectionscoop. As a part of our effort to increase the member engagement, we're hosting a spring photo contest. All you have to do to participate is to enter a photo in one of your scouting adventure or something that relates to spring by deadline, and you'll be on your way to win a prize. The deadline for the spring contest is May 28th. We have also expanded our social media platform. To replace the Slack from 2020 Conclave, we've added a new platform, Band. Band is a place where everyone in the section can get together and chat with one another. We'll be using Band as we get close to Conclave to post any updates. If you haven't joined Band yet, you can join by link on our website. And lastly, while we're going through the pandemic, comms team is committed to keep everyone informed. You can find the latest information on our website or any of our social media platforms. And if you'd like to join comms team, we're always looking for new members to help out. please feel free to reach us at communication@sectionw1s.org or using our social media platforms. Now we'll hear from each lodge of what their lodge is up to. We're going to start with a Thackeray from Lola Kamgila.
Thank you, Rio. Lulakom Gila started the year off with LLD. We had a wonderful time training some of the best leaders in the lodge. We are hard at work planning a virtual spring fellowship coming up at the end of April. More news on that in the coming days. We're looking forward to having our first induction and in-person event at the beautiful Camp Briggs at the end of May. We'll be having our other spring induction at Camp McLaughlin at the beginning of June. We are looking at doing a lodge-wide service project in August. Lastly, we'll kick our fall programs off with an induction weekend at Camp McLaughlin in the middle of September. We'll be doing our last induction weekend of the year at Camp McQualla. To top off the year, we'll be having a fall fellowship at the beginning of November at Camp McLaughlin. We're looking forward to a wonderful year. Back to you, Rio.
Thanks, Thackeray. Now we're headed to Dustin with a Chaiskin Lodge update.
Thanks, Rio. Chaiskin is kicking up their April program with a side of COVID precautions. Last month, our amazing service and vigil teams, under the guidance of their youth leaders, executed a fine in-person joint weekend in March. Our 6 vigil candidates from 2020 finally got their first safe opportunity to get that cool triangle on their sashes. Then directly afterward in the morning, our service crews got together to work on Oregon Trail Council's beloved Camp Baker. This month, Chaiskin is gearing up once again to work on our camp via service weekend. We plan on a full in-person weekend with groups divided by chapter and meals in individual clamshell containers. I'm super excited to see what my lodge is like when they get together at camp for an event, and what will be our first in-person event in almost 14 months. My officers and I are working hard to make sure everyone is safe throughout their weekend of cheerful service. We will continue to persevere as a lodge despite what gets thrown at us as we make our way to Chaiskin's annual fellowship, Brotherhood Royale, a James Bond themed event, and I can't wait to see what I'm dealt this fall. Back to you, Rio.
Thanks, Dustin. Now Mason will finish us off with a Juan Alamonte Lodge update.
All right, thanks, Rio. So our lodge has had 2 virtual events so far this year, Cybernact and a virtual rendezvous. Both events have exceeded expectations in attendance, but more importantly, the airmen who attended had a great time at both of the events. At Rendezvous in March, 6 new lodge officers were elected to serve the 2021 to 2022 term. I'm looking forward to working with the group of officers, and I can't wait to see what each of them bring to the table. We're holding 4 induction events this year. Our first one will be held at Camp Baldwin on June 4th through 5th. Juan Alamonte will be having our 5th Aero Corps this year in August, and the planning for the event is going along smoothly, and we're looking forward to holding the event at Camp Pioneer. The attendees will get the opportunity to work with the U.S. Forest Service, and also National Chief Derek Porter will be attending Aero Corps. It's an amazing event that anyone who enjoys service and getting to meet new people should go to. In October, we will be holding an in-person event at Camp Meriwether. The event will serve as a redo of Rendezvous since we were unable to hold Rendezvous in person this year. It will be Wild West themed like Rendezvous was supposed to be, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the programs team will put together. I'm looking forward to seeing what the year has in store for Juan Alamonte.
Thanks, Mason. Now we'll hear an update from Dakota, so take it away.
Thanks, Rio, and thank you again to everyone who was able to join us tonight. Exciting updates on the national and the Western region front, and we'll start off in just a few weeks with Momentum Discover. Momentum Discover will be the 3rd installment in the highly successful Momentum series and will focus on getting back into the outdoors with a series of new shows, activities, and trainings centered around this theme. Discover will be open to all scouts and not just airmen. This includes all members of your Scout BSA troops, venture crews, and even a Cub Scout if you know one. This event will also be unique because we will be streaming live from all locations in all 4 regions. And the region with the highest delegate count will have a live patch drawing for a set of unique patches for one lucky winner in that region. Currently, the West falls in second place, 14 delegates behind the Southern region. So if you want to have a shot at winning some of these unique and rare patches, make sure to register 14 more delegates from the West. Will we see you at Momentum Discover, held April 23rd through 25th. In the Western region, we are planning on hosting 2 NLS courses this year. Our first course will be in Fairbanks, Alaska on August 13th through 15th, and the second one will be in San Jose, California, November 19th through 21st. If you have never attended an NLS course before, it is a great opportunity to develop your skills as a leader and learn from some of the best trainers in the Western region. We hope to see you at one of our courses this year or at one of our 2022 courses next year. We are also currently working on establishing the groundwork for an exciting new initiative called the One Western program, which will be designed to engage airmen of the Western region on a new and innovative platform like you've never seen before. And if you're already looking forward to the next NOAC, mark your calendars for July of 2022 at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville for a NOAC experience you won't want to miss. That's all for updates, and now back to you, Rio.
Thanks, Dakota, for joining us this evening and providing our airmen with an update. Before we move into Q&A and giveaway, it is time for us to make some announcements about Conclave.
Thanks, Rio. This year, our Conclave will be the first time the section comes together since the 2019 Conclave at Camp Merriweather. Our Council of Chiefs has been hard at work innovating Conclave to make it the best it can be. Our section vice chief, Caitlin, has been rethinking training, working to streamline and improve the training program. To be a trainer at Conclave or suggest a class, email the training committee from the section website. For activities this year, keep an eye out for Build Your Own Armor, catapults, and medieval relay races. Chapters will participate and compete in a variety of activities, so be prepared for a fun-filled weekend. On a separate note, our registration is a bit different this year. To encourage efficient event check-in, we want all airmen to pre-register online. Conclave this year is $45 for new airmen, $50 for pre-registered members, and $60 for at-the-door admission. Rio, back to you.
Thank you, Dirk. We're so excited about Conclave this year. Now we're going to move on to Q&A sessions. But before that, I want to give you a quick reminder that you can ask your question throughout this campfire by posting it in the comments of this live video, or you can post your question in a band or section Facebook group. When you post a question, you're automatically entered into a giveaway. Again, at the end of the day, we'll pick 2 winners, and prizes are 2020 Section W-1S Conclave patch and 2012 Section W-1S Conclave jacket patch. Make sure to get your questions rolled, and we'll get your questions answered. Again, if you want a specific person to answer your question, make sure to mention their name as well. With that, I see some comments, some questions in the comments, so we'll start from there. So the first question that we received from social media is, this is a fun one. What's your worst camping experience? I think we'll just go one by one here. Dirk, you want to start us off?
Yeah, definitely. So the worst camping experience that I've had, probably my troop was doing a marathon hike and it was just pouring rain. So, it was just pouring rain. I got hypothermia and ended up just being miserable the entire camp out. But we're all better now. So that was definitely the worst camping experience.
That's good. My worst camp experience was I went to Campfire back in 2015 or something. And I grabbed the tent that I was I used, and then I set up the tent. It started raining on the night, and apparently there was a hole that I didn't realize until the morning. So when I wake up, that's the Friday night. So I have one more night to go. My sleeping bag was soaking wet, dripping, and then I had a terrible night on Saturday night as well. So that must be the worst camping experience. What about you, Dakota?
Oh boy. This is a situation of pick your favorite, but one of the worst ones I've ever experienced. We had a spring camporee out in a rock quarry, and it was in the spring, and naturally in the spring in Montana, it rains a lot. And when you're in a rock quarry, the rain doesn't have anywhere to go but down. So that weekend was an incredibly wet weekend, as well as sleeping on rocks was incredibly uncomfortable. And if you were the troop next to us, you woke up swimming in a small lake that had formed overnight. So that was one of the worst camping experiences I have ever experienced.
Zach, do you want to go ahead with this?
One of the worst camping experiences I've ever been on was probably it was on the Oregon coast. And if you live over there, you know it rains quite often. So I brought a tent that didn't have a rain fly. And so in the middle of the night, I woke up and my tent had like 1.5 inches of water in it. And it was just a miserable time.
Dustin, you want to guess this?
Well, as Zach said, I live on the Oregon coast, so everyone's been talking about rain. Mine's actually another rain experience as well. My troop was at the Aviation Museum around where we live, and it was raining super hard, and we were all underneath one single tarp, and we had it put together with 4 poles, and it created a bowl of water in the middle, and eventually it crashed, and we were all soaked.
And lastly, Mason?
So my worst camping experience is probably from my first pre-camperee as a new scout. So we set up camp late at night, so we couldn't really see the campsite very well. There's this dip where everyone set up their tents, and then everyone's tent got flooded in the morning because of how badly it rained. So we were like in a pond by morning.
Sounds like everyone's story has to do with the rain. That seems like a common theme here. Okay, I have a question in the chat. If they're about the giveaway, when the winner will be announced, we'll be announcing it at the very end of the live stream. So all you have to do is post your question and we'll pick 2 winners at the end of this live stream. Next question that we had is, does a pineapple belong on pizza? That was a fun question with the Gavin, but I'm not sure what the opinion on the new Western Region Chief. So I'm gonna start with the Dakota on your opinion.
Oh boy, this is a favorite among Q&As in the West, I've found. But I am in strong agreement with Gavin that pineapple does in fact belong on pizza. I'm a huge fan of whole pizza. I love the tropical flavor of it, and I think pineapple is a staple on all pizza. Pizza to me is a blank canvas to do whatever you want with it, and I think pineapple is one of those things that should belong.
Anyone with a strong opinion about pineapple that want to speak out right now? No one has a strong opinion? All right, that's good. Well, glad you guys agree there. We had some heated arguments between Gavin and other people, so something good there. Okay, next question we received from social media is, what is our theme for Conclave and what can we expect? I'll pass it on to Dirk for that one.
Yeah, our theme for this year's Conclave is Knights of the Order, so we're going to be centering out kind of a medieval theme. That theme was decided back in January amongst our COC, which is our Youth Council of Chiefs. So at Conclave, like I said, you can expect build your own armor, catapults, medieval themed activities, and shows. But other than that, expect amazing trainings and food, along with great activities and shows.
Excellent. Yeah, we have one comment in the chat. Will there be a dragon at the Conclave? What do you think, Dirk?
We will do our best to get a dragon at Conclave. No promises, though. We'll speak to the shows team about that.
That's fair. Yeah. We have some exciting things planned for Conclave, but dragon never came up. So I guess that's something we can work on. Yeah. Okay. Another question to each lodge officer is, what's your next in-person event if you have anything planned? So I'm going to start with Lola first.
Yes. So our next in-person event is going to be our spring induction at Camp Riggs, I believe. It's going to be a wonderful event. I hope to see everyone there.
All right. So your Triskin induction opportunities this year are the spring and summer inductions. Our spring induction at Camp Baker is June 18th through the 20th, and our summer induction at Camp Malacqua is July 30th through August 1st.
So the first in-person event Juana Lamonte is going to have this year will be our first spring induction on June 4th through 5th at Camp Baldwin.
Cool. Okay. Another question from social media is about OA High Adventure. So Dirk, if you want to kind of explain what the OA High Adventure is and what are something that people can expect from there.
Yeah, so OA High Adventure is the Order of the Arrows method of sending their airmen to high adventure bases. So there's OA High Adventure programs at all 4 of the BSA's bases. Rio and I, back in 2019, we went on a trek together without planning it. We went on a trek together at Philmont for the OA Trail Crew program. And I can honestly say that it's definitely sculpted my life since then. So it's definitely a very beneficial program if you want to meet new people and experience those high adventure opportunities. So I would definitely look into it if you're an airman 16 or older.
Yeah, it was super fun event when me and Dirk went in 2019. So another question is NLS. I'll give it to Dakota. Can you explain what that is and what are things that people?
Absolutely. You cut out and muted yourself there at the last part, but I assume that you meant what is the NLS course and what can participants expect to get out of it? So NLS stands for National Leadership Seminar, and it is essentially the Order of the Arrows program equivalent to something like an NYLT or a NAIL. We have cutting edge programs that were recently redesigned to sort of innovate the leadership within you and activate the leader within you and give you skills that you can learn, that you can utilize both inside and outside of scouting that will stick with you for the rest of your professional and personal life as well. It is highly encouraged that airmen attend NLS courses, and you will find that you will get a lot out of the weekend.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, I actually never went to new ones. I went to old NLS back in 2017, but I've never gone to the new one, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So another quick question that I'm going to go around everyone in this panel. What's the most important part of a scout law? Dirk, you want to start us off?
Sorry, run the question by me one more time.
Yeah, so the question was, what's the most important part of the scout law?
I think definitely the first one. It sets a foundation for the scout law, trustworthy. So, and I think that if you start as trustworthy, then all those other ones come naturally after that. So definitely trustworthy, the first one.
Yeah, my answer would be like helpful. You know, I try to be helpful for a lot of people. Just reach your hand when you need it, when other people need it. So I think kind of being friendly and then helpful is kind of like two things that go together for me. Dakota?
And you guys took the answers I was going to use. Thinking through them, friendly is another big one that I can come up with. You can be, trustworthy and helpful, but if you're not a friend to a person, you might be able to provide them a service, but if you're not a friend to them, it might not leave as big of an impact on them as much as it could. Personally, I think there are 12 points to the scout law for a reason. But if I had to pick one that hasn't already been mentioned, friendly would be my input there.
Take it away, Lodge Chief.
I think loyal is up there on one of the best. If you're loyal, you're usually a good friend and trustworthy, and kind of have more of the other points of the scout law tied in with it. So I'd say loyal.
Well, we all know that the scout law starts with a scout is. My Eagle coach always pounded this into my head. The entire 12 points are nothing without a scout is. All of the 12 points work in junction and none can be replaced. or forgotten?
For me, the most important point of the scout law would be cheerful, because you can do just about every one of those things listed in the scout law, but whether or not you're cheerful could make a big difference on how those actions are perceived. If you do stuff with a negative mindset, then it's not going to have as big of an effect on people. But if you do them cheerfully and happily, it'll make the experience better for everyone.
I think everyone has the right answer here. No. Okay, the question from the chat: when will the winner of the Conclave patch set competition be announced? Have they already been announced? Dirk?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our patch design is going right now. So if you want to submit a patch, you can definitely still do that. But the winners are going to be announced after our spring COC, which is when we'll vote on our merchandise. So probably somewhat late May, I would say. But keep an eye out on that trading post, because the section officers do have some other merchandise ideas that we're hoping to get made. So yeah, to answer the question again, later May probably. So just keep checking the trading post.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a question that we got from the social media: when will the chapters be able to meet in person? I'm gonna go ahead and guide this to Vince or Scott, if he's available, to kind of answer the local guideline and what the council has the rule for us.
Go ahead, Scott. Okay, our guidance within Oregon Trail Council and Chiskin Lodge is just to make sure that whatever you do, we're not telling them when they can, when they can't, but just to make sure that they're following the state and their county guidelines, because we have different counties. We have 6 different counties that we serve in Oregon Trail Council. And those counties are not all in the same risk level at this point. So we tell them just to make sure that they're following, again, the state guidelines and the county guidelines as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so another fun questions that we got from the social media is: what is your favorite summer camp you attended and why? I'm gonna start this off. My favorite summer camp that I ever attended was Camp Pioneer back in 2016. That was my first summer camp that I attended as the ASPL, and kind of going to summer camp as a leadership is very different from just going as a scout. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I went through a lot of things. But I think that was my favorite summer camp memories that I have. Dirk?
My favorite scout camp, probably Hinckley Scout Ranch. So that's where I did my NYLT. It's out there in Utah, for those of you who know where it is. But it is a really awesome camp. My NYLT class was the first to train in their new lodge there. And Utah is a special place in my heart. So I think that's probably my favorite scout camp that I've been to.
Dakota? Go ahead.
Oh boy, I've been to a few, but I might be a little biased in this, but we have 2 council camps in Montana. We have Melita Island, which is literally an island in the middle of Flathead Lake. But my favorite, I think, might be KBRM Scout Ranch in Lewistown, Montana. And it's special to me. I've done a lot of events there, both for OA, but my favorite summer camp program was what we call the Mountain Man Adventure. You go do a ATV trek and a river trek down the Missouri River. I truly love that scout camp there. We just had a new lodge built, and if you ever get the chance to attend KBRM Scout Ranch, I highly recommend it. Or Melita Island, both are great.
Yeah, Zachary, what do you think?
My favorite scout camp, similar to you, Rio, would probably be Camp Pioneer in 2019. I was SPL, and you kind of get a new perspective of scout camp when you're the SPL, and you have to go to all the SPL training meeting or the SPL meetings and kind of guide your troop along camp programs and making sure the younger scouts get to merit badges on time. So I think it was probably Pioneer.
My favorite camp probably has to be my local Camp Baker. I went there as a camper for a few years, and then my year that I attended as SPL, I enjoyed my time so much. I signed up for the rest of the summer, and I've been staffing for 3 years
Yeah, go
since.
ahead, Dustin.
So my favorite scout camp was, I guess, same year as Rio's, Pioneer 2016. That was like my second summer camp, and I really enjoyed it because the program there is really good. A lot of fun stuff to do, and that's one of the camps where the lake is not freezing, so that swimming's fun. So those are like the main reasons I enjoyed Camp Pioneer.
Thank you. Yep. I'm gonna give it to Dirk. Another question that we got from social media is, what is something new that we can expect from Conclave 2021?
Yeah, so something new to expect at Conclave 2021 off the top of my head is a newly improved training program. So Caitlin's been working pretty hard to make training the best it can be, streamlined. So in the past, we've gotten some feedback, does the Tamawk University system work? So Caitlin's been really working on trying to innovate that program and make sure it's the best for you guys. So make sure to definitely be interested in training at Conclave.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a new trainings. We're trying to implement, have a new activities. I think we have a lot of exciting stuff going on this year. Yeah, so what
Hey, Rio, I think you cut out there. You want to say that question again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What advice do you have for new airmen thinking about running for a leadership position for his and her chapter or lodge? That was the question.
All right, I will start this one, then I'll pass it over to Dakota. My advice would just be to have a really solid speech. The speech is what everybody sees during that election night, and if you practice it and you're confident in your points and your goals in your speech, you're solid.
I would agree with Dirk. The speech is obviously the first impression that everyone sees. There's a couple different things that I would suggest as well too. Certainly networking before that is crucial. Getting to know your member base a lot better, interacting with them, asking them questions, and really establishing a personal connection with them will make them feel more inclined to vote for you. But probably my biggest piece of advice is to have some very clear goals outlined and very clear plan to execute those goals, and make them something that you're passionate about. That will make it a lot easier, not only for you in the middle of your term to reignite the flame that's inside of you when you first ran, but it'll make it easier for you as well to sort of have a platform to run on and have some clear goals that you can that can help benefit your chapter or lodge going forward. So to sum it up, my advice would be have a goal and have a plan to execute that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question that we got from social media: what advice do you have for the new airmen this year? Dakota, can I pass this to you?
Of course. So, it goes without saying that this past year has been something that none of us have ever expected. And for advice that I have for new airmen coming in this year is that I promise that this is not everything that the OA is about. Once you get the opportunity to attend an in-person event, to attend another ordeal or an induction weekend, and experience a whole different side of OA that really revolves around the brotherhood and the fellowship that's not just through a Zoom meeting, you'll find a new perspective on the OA. So my advice, as difficult as it may be, would be to stick with the program. Zoom meetings are hard, but this is how you'll get your start. And when you hit the ground running, when we have in-person events again, safely, your experience will be far greater than if you wait until then without interacting. So stay involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Another quick question. How can I get involved in the section? One of the way you can easily get involved in the section is joining the comms team. That's kind of the easiest one that you can do. You just have to fill out the form, and comms team take care of social media, any kind of communication related stuff. The comms team is taking care of that. That is the easiest way to get into the sections. Dirk, you want to give us training or conclave staff side of that?
Yeah, so other than the comms team, you can get involved on a conclave vice chief committee. So we have our youth CVCs, and those people are always needing help. So the training committee obviously needs trainers and people to help run trainings, whereas the activities side of things, they might need people to run activities. So definitely, whatever you're passionate about, shows, activities, trainings, putting on luncheons, anything, contact Rio or I, and we can get you involved in that way.
Yeah, we have. I think we have a lot of spots for people to kind of join in and help us run the conclave. So any support is welcome. Absolutely. Another question from the chat: given the choice, anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Fun question. Dirk, you want to start us on?
I am not sure who I would take to dinner as a guest, but I definitely feel like sitting down to dinner with Walt Disney would definitely be an experience. So I'm going to say Walt Disney for tonight.
Since I don't have an answer yet, I'm just going to pass it on to Dakota to buy some time.
I can't blame you. Man, I have a short list. Sometimes I think about this question. Like having to choose just one, I would say either Steve Jobs or Simon Sinek. I don't know if you're familiar with Simon Sinek and his infamous TED Talk, How Great Leaders Inspire Action. It's truly one of the things that has inspired me in my daily life and everything that I do. And I truly believe that his mind and his wisdom is unparalleled. So Simon Sinek or Steve Jobs, either one.
Yeah, I think that's a fun one. One thing that I would love to talk with someone is Baden Powell's. Definitely how he started scouting movement. He traveled the world, Africa, India. I think that's a really cool person to talk to. If I go to kind of nerdier side, I definitely want to talk to like Newton or someone, kind of like back in those days, how can, these people created this physics and math that, we still use. So that's kind of interesting things for me. So I'll give it to the Lodge Chiefs. If you have any answers, go ahead and unmute.
I think it'd be really cool to talk to Nikola Tesla and learn from him. Some of the different theories that he had and the reasoning behind them. I think it'd be really cool to hear just, about his life experience.
For me personally, I think it would be the coolest dinner ever if I sat down on a back porch with a barbecue, all steaks and sausages and stuff like that with Brian Ferguson, one of the most legendary archers ever. He can literally hit anything that you throw. Like I would just sit on the back and just throw random things from my house into the yard and just watch him hit it with an arrow.
For me, it'd be Ronald Reagan, mostly because I'd like to ask him about how he goes from being an actor to the president. I think that'd be definitely interesting to talk about. Also, his foreign policy accomplishments, I'd talk about those too.
Yeah, absolutely. Last two questions that we have. One of them from the social media. How can we challenge more scouts to become involved in the Order of the Arrow, especially at the unit level? I'll pass it on to Dirk and probably Dakota have more answers as well.
Yeah, so if the question is, how do we want to challenge more scouts that are in the Order of the Arrow to become involved? at the unit level, which is what I believe it was, is the OA Troop Representative Program. So that connects the chapter and the lodge to the troop through that one individual airman, and it serves as a leadership position within the troop as well as a leadership position within the chapter. And that is the best way to involve airmen on the unit level. Dakota, do you have anything to elaborate on that?
No, I would say exactly the same thing. The OA Troop Representative Program, at least where I come from, is one of the most underutilized positions out there. And I think it would be a challenge for any airman who is committed and willing to take on that position to sort of reform what it means to be an OA Troop Rep. But that doesn't mean that there has to be just one. If you have 3 or 4 members, the easiest thing that we can all do to encourage more membership in the OA and more membership in scouting in general is to just stay involved in our troops in general. For a lot of older scouts that never get inducted into the OA, they sort of fall off the scouting at around that 15, 16 age. And if we can stay involved, then we're more likely to bring them back on. And the more we stay involved with our units, the more the young scouts will stay involved with the program as well. So even if you're not necessarily the elected OA Troop Representative Program, any airman that is, serving in the OA should hopefully still be registered with their unit. And it only costs you maybe an hour and a half every week or so just to go to your troop meeting and stay involved with your local unit. And just participate in their activities. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Go on campouts and show up to their meetings and stay involved with them.
So if any of you guys, if anyone out there wants to become a troop rep or wants more knowledge on that, contact one of your lodge chiefs up here or your chapter chief or even your scoutmaster. All of those people should know more information for you specifically.
Yeah. So the last question that we got from social media that I wanted to save out for the last one is, what inspired you to pursue your current position? I'm going to go ahead and start this one. I was really inspired by Lodge Chief, WANA Lodge Chief back in 2017. Yeah, I think so. When I got inducted, or must have been 2016, when I got inducted, he was the first person that I talked to. And then the energy that I got from him, and then how welcoming he was, that's, I think, how I started loving the OA. And then a few years later, I started running for a position in chapter and running for section officers. And that's how everything started for me. So the first impression of the Lodge Chief when I got inducted first was my first, what inspired me to do what I do in the OA. Dirk?
Yeah, if we're talking about inspirations, like a specific event, I would definitely say my first national leadership seminar. It was pretty much my first event as a new airman back in 2016. And I saw all of these section and regional and national leaders. And the national vice chief, Tyler Imberg at the time from our section, was there. And he made it a pretty big point to me kind of to sit down and because I was from our section. So he kind of talked with me throughout that event. So that was a pretty cool experience. That was definitely an inspiration to run for the section side of things.
Yeah, go ahead, Dakota.
Yeah, when I was first inducted into the OA in 2016, and when I was inducted, I certainly had no plans or barely even knew what the Western Region Chief was. But as I got more involved in the program, took on chapter vice chief, ceremonies, chapter chief, eventually lodge chief, I started to become more inspired by the people, and not just the people, sort of in my circle that were helping me and supporting me and advising me, but the people that I was leading and the ones who, my goals were going to impact. And as I continued to move up, section vice chief, section chief, as we started planning a conclave, that was really what kept inspiring me, was to make a difference in the lives of everyone who was staying involved in the program. And what inspired me to run for Western Region Chief was simply to do that on an even bigger scale. My goal of the One Western program, which we are developing, hopes to bridge some of the gaps that we face in the Western region. We are the biggest region in the nation currently, and we have several problems, or not necessarily problems, but unique challenges that we face. And I hope to bridge those gaps with the One Western program to sort of help airmen who might currently be involved with that. So That's what I would say is the people. I know it's kind of a cliche answer, but the people.
Yeah, Thackeray.
I think the person who really, or what really inspired me the most to run for Lodge Chief was probably my first Lodge Chief, Dirk Smelser. When I first came into the order, I mean, I didn't really have much knowledge of anything, but it was really cool to get to see, you know, him and his LEC get to plan these fun events and have a fun time planning them. So.
Well, I'm currently serving my second term, so I guess what inspired me to run again for Lodge Chief was my first advisor in a lodge setting. I ran for administrative vice chief of Chiskin Lodge, and my advisor at the time was Zach Colbert, and just like him, and as I am now, he served 2 terms as Lodge Chief, and he's been a great inspiration for me throughout my entire journey.
For me, what inspired me to run for Lodge Chief is probably just like my first rendezvous. When I went to that was a lot of fun. I saw the Lodge Chief up there talking and doing Lodge Chief stuff, I guess. And I thought that looks like fun, and I want to do that one day. So, yeah, that's what inspired me to run for Lodge Chief.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And then thank you everyone who submitted the questions. It was really fun. And we're going to move on to giveaway segment, and then we'll close our night in a bit. So again, everyone who submitted a question for a Q&A segment was entered into drawing to win a 2020 Section W-1S Conclave patch and 2012 Section W-1S Conclave jacket patch. The winners are randomly chosen, and 2 winners were Rachel Isbeck and Zachary Lynn. Congratulations to both of you. You have won our patches courtesy of the Section Comms team. Please send us email at communications@sectionw1s.org so we can get your prize shipped. Again, thank you everyone who submitted questions, and we're out of time to answer any questions, but if you have more questions, feel free to send them at info@sectionw1s.org, and we'll try to get them answered. At this time, let's turn it over to our section advisor, Vince Bishop, and our section chief, Dirk, for some final thoughts.
Remember that part of the obligation. We'll seek to preserve a cheerful spirit, even in the midst of irksome tasks and weighty responsibilities. This, along with our Scout oath and law, provides valuable guidance of how we as members of this great organization can ease the burdens of our brothers, even during this time of challenge in our lives, community, nation, and the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Vince, and thanks again to all of you who joined us tonight. It's events like this and people like you that ensure Scouting stays alive. Before we close, I want to remind everyone that as in-person events start coming back, it's a great opportunity to bring in those new members and grow our organization. Your commitment and dedication to the Order of the Arrow isn't going unnoticed, but I challenge each of you to reach out to a fellow Arrowman and get them to an upcoming Lodge event. I'm confident that with all of us working together this year, we'll see a positive change in our order.
Thank you, Dirk and Vince. As we close the campfire tonight, I hope you enjoyed the campfire as much as we did. If you want to stay connected with us, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Section W1S. On behalf of all of us at Section W1S, thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Stay safe and keep scouting.